$20 for whoever can guess how much I spend in Canadian dollars on coconut water each month. I know roughly how much I spend. $20 if you guess it right within the dollar. That's my little trick to make you comment in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like the video. It's going to be a great video. You're going to learn a lot. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Hunter. This is Hunter FX. All that jazz. Okay, let's dive into it. Today we're going to learn and teach you, I'm going to teach you, and you're going to learn how we're going to trail our stops properly so that we don't get... you know, when it goes a little bit into profit and then you get all excited and then you move your stop forward, you take a little bit of profit maybe off, and then it completely wicks right back to where your stop moved to, but it doesn't actually go to the original stop, and you're like, oh, why did I move my stop? But in reality, you're just kind of like fearful that you would have a losing trade. You're moving it forward a little bit too soon. So I'm going to show you the actual best way, to do this properly. Move your stop forward along as the trade moves into profit. All right, boys, so we're gonna just draw it out here in a first case here. So let's say we're taking a long position. You got the oh my god, can I draw like a 3-year-old or what? So you got that downtrend. Maybe it's going down to a support. Oh my god, holy crap, a support area. It bounces off that support area, starts making new highs, something like that, and then you decide, hey, I'm going to enter the trade right there, and I'm going to put my stop below there. This is incredibly common for a lot of different traders. They use this kind of style. They're bouncing off supply, demand, things like this, and then they're looking for an entry on that reversal, something like that, right? And then your target is way up here. All right, so if it starts moving forward, how are we going to manage our stops? I think essentially there's three things that could happen rather in a trade. One is, first of all, it essentially just goes to your stop and you lose. So that's not what we're gonna talk about, because there's nothing you can do there. The second one is quite easy. It also makes a staircasing pyramid, kind of like this, where it's coming back to retest those areas. Maybe it goes down a little bit into the negative there or so, and then it breaks new highs, and then it comes back down, breaks new highs again, comes back down, breaks new highs again. Right, and it moves all the way to your final destination there. Now, a lot of people, they will move their stops once we start getting into profit here, for example. And you can say, okay, maybe let's move this back a little bit and kind of draw it out so it's a better line here. So maybe you've gone, 50% into profit, or maybe 30% rather into profit or so. And then they say, okay, I want to move my stop forward. Maybe I'm going to take a little bit of profit at this resistance area, something like that. Let's assume that there was resistance there, and then they move their stop forward to break even there. Now, this is the worst thing that you could be doing when you're taking profit, and that's because you haven't actually seen how it's going to retest this area yet. What you're actually doing here is you're putting a sell order on a possible bottom, right? Because when it comes back to retest the zone and then continues back up, it could very easily stop you out and then continue. That's the worst thing. That's what a lot of people do. And I'll show you another variation of how this can be kind of similar here. So the point of this, what I'm making here, is saying that if it moves up, you want to at least wait until it comes back and then bounces off that zone and moves to a new high. That's what I'm saying. So we make a new leg down and a new leg up, breaking to a new high. Then we can say, okay, this area was in fact tested. And then we can move to the new high. Then I can say, okay, most likely if it breaks down below here again, it's going to break all the way down and break all the way to that original stop. So let's kind of delete some of that stuff there. Get out of here, you tips. I don't need any quick tips. I know it all already. All right, so now when we have something like this and we're moving to that new high, we can then put our stop, because most likely it's going to continue to do this, right? And then continue up to your profit. And for each level, that's where people, every time it makes a new high, they would move it up, they would move it up, they would move it up, right? That's what a lot of people will do after they realize that it's not good to just move the stop once you're in profit. That's what a lot of, intermediate type traders are doing. That's not exactly what I do either. What I will do is I will only move my stop when I see a new entry requirement for a new position. So if I'm willing to take another position, then I will move my stop. What do I necessarily mean by this? I don't have to actually be taking another position. It doesn't have to be a great new position or anything. It just has to be something where I'm seeing manipulation in the market and massive momentum changes. That's personally to me, right? So if I then see the pullback doing something like this, and then it sweeps this low here really quickly, then I know that this was a stop hunt. This was manipulation below that low. And then I'm happy to move my stop below there because I might be satisfied in entering a new trade here, because that's essentially what I saw in this level right there. Hopefully that's making sense to you guys, and that's why I would have entered that first trade there to begin with. See, the thing that could happen is oftentimes you will see a pullback here and then a move higher, and then you will see manipulation drop and then move to the higher side once again. It's more common than you think, and that's when you're going to get stopped out a second time. It's not super common, and this is the more advanced way of thinking about it when you're moving to the next level, but we always want to wait for that manipulation. But if we see something like this, right, and we see that manipulation, we know that manipulation, that stop hunt has already happened, and that's given it enough momentum to truly move to the next level. Because sometimes the market makers decide, okay, I need to come back down, but they won't do that if they've already done it once, right? And another thing it can kind of look like is sometimes like this, and then manipulate the lows here. So that's why we don't move our stop below that low when we make that high, and then move to the upside, because sometimes oh my gosh, sometimes it comes just below that low, so we keep it nice and low there. So once we see that manipulation, then we say, okay, now I'm going to move my stop, and then it's going to come to the higher side and higher side, and it could even actually break down here and then stop you out. But if it does stop you out, you're pretty much damn guaranteed to hit your original stop there. Because why? Because you've just swept those highs right there. The next thing that can happen is you see, oh my God, I made such a mess. You see that this comes back, it hits your entry, and then it just rockets off. Now, what do you do in this case? You really don't want to lose what you've already taken off, because if it comes all the way back down here, it's still technically holding the structure of the market, but you've just possibly missed such a massive move. And if it's pulling back that much distance after having this massive move, there's a very likelihood chance it's going to come and hit your original stop, right? So what I like to do in massive moves like this is I jump down to the lower time frame, and then you're going to see little bits like this along the way, and then you're going to look for those same manipulation moves. You're going to put them on move your stop up, and you're going to keep moving your stop quite quickly with the market. So it's two different styles here. If the market's moving very quickly, then what we're doing is we're being much more aggressive with our stop movements, because we want to lock in those profits. That's the difference. You're going to look for things like this, where you're seeing the manipulation breaking, continuing back up to the making new highs, and then you're going to move your stop, and you're going to be taking profits at your proper take profit areas, of course, and you're not going to be too eager pulling them off. So let's look at a couple of examples. All right, so here is an example right away. Let me drop this bottom one maybe to the lower time frame later. Yeah, I'll drop this one to the lower time frame. Okay, so this is what we see, very similar to what I've just shown you, but on a sell side here, you see that area of resistance being touched, and then it drops off. So let's say we jumped into that trade somewhere around here and somewhere around here. We put our stop and we targeted the bottom there. And now it really drops super quickly. So that's that last example that I was talking to you guys about. So what we're going to do, because we see that we don't want to move our stop, but we've seen that a massive drop down here, and there's not really any place to get out here. We want to let it run as long as possible. So we don't want to move our stop there because it could very easily just come back up, retest this zone, stop us out at break even, and then continue back down. And we would still be right, but we just were too eager about it. So what we're going to do, we're going to drop that down to the lower time frame. And then we're going to say, oh, that's the wrong one, over here. Then we're going to say, okay, well, this is starting to consolidate here. So after it's consolidating there and it's moving to a next level down, now we're going to move our stop right here. And that's when we're going to put our stop right there. And worst case scenario, it will actually pull back there, but you're still going to get a little bit of profit instead of pulling back all the way to break even. And then you're kind of screwed right now. So let's look at another example on the lower time frame here. Where it's that first kind of example, and again we're going to do some sort of sell. You know, let's say that you saw these highs here, you saw it getting swept, and then you wanted to enter that trade right there. Now let's talk about this as normal rational adults. Let's say you entered roughly around there and your stop is right above that, just so like a normal person would do, and you're targeting maybe way down here these lows, right? Perfect. That sounds like a perfectly reasonable trade to me. I don't know about you, maybe not. So first thing you say is, okay, maybe we went into a little bit of profit here. You know, maybe this example you didn't go into very much profit, so you didn't actually want to take anything off the table here. And you know, let's say you actually, for example, we moved quite a bit deeper and that was like the first area, so maybe you wanted to move your stop at that point. That was the very first thing I said, do not do it until you wait for this pullback, because you're going to get fully stopped out at break even, right? So the next thing that I said was, okay, we'll wait for the next leg down. So this is actually a great case where the leg down did actually cause something that completely satisfied all of my cases. First of all, we've retested the previous untested order block there. If it's not retested, then there's a possibility that it still comes up and it wicks it again to just retest those orders so that you can get in. And we've also kind of swept this range. We've created some manipulation before the actual move. So we faked out to the upside and then we went to the downside. So now I would actually be satisfied not to move it to break even, but I would be fully satisfied to move it behind this level. And then it's almost a free trade, right? Now the next thing you notice starts dumping quite a bit here. And you notice that there's nothing we can do, because here you're not seeing any manipulation here. So what am I thinking? I want to move my stop forward, but I really can't, because we're not actually breaking, we're just breaking new lows. And I still think that this is fully able to be tested once again. And this could still come up and wick above there. You know, this is still untested. So why would I move my stop forward when there's still levels that could be tested, right? So let's actually say that we wanted to target a little bit lower, just for the sake of this example, so you guys can get a good picture here. So now what do we see as we start consolidating here? If we had moved our stop forward, we would have been stopped out right there, and then it would have continued in our direction, and then you would have been perfectly right. For example, I didn't actually cherry pick this example, it just happened to work out perfectly here. Not every example is going to work out super perfectly like I'm explaining right now, but then we can see the consolidation around this range, we can see the manipulation above this range, right, retesting these zones, and then the breakdown to the next range. So now this is actually a case where I would be satisfied in entering another new trade, right? Because another new trade could be set up somewhere like this, where we're seeing the breakdown, we're seeing the manipulation, we want to put our stop below there, and then we want to target those lows. Now, mind you, this isn't a very good trade. You know, it's 1.6. It's not the best trade compared to this one, 7R, right? But it's still a new possibility of a trade, and I would be fully satisfied in now moving my stop above there. So what you'll then see is we would have to take profit, but when you do actually come back to where that stop was hiding, you do see a full trend change, and it goes all the way back to our original stop, and it would have stopped us out. This is a perfect example, and I literally just pulled up Euro USD, and I found the first two things that I saw, and I explained them to you there for you guys. Now, guys, I hope that was incredibly helpful. Give me a like for, I guess, not showering before making this video or something. Subscribe, you know all that. You know it all. You know, you've heard it a million times before. Oh my gosh. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. If you guys want some more educational stuff, please watch the streams every Monday to Friday-ish if I'm around. And I like to do it a little bit after the London Open, after kind of the markets have died down a little bit. We talk about things going on in the day, talk about things that you've traded, talk about things that I've traded. And if you're looking for a more community-like experience, join the Discord in the link description below. There's also a Signal group down there as well. And follow me on Instagram so you can get involved with maybe some giveaways, daily content, things like this. See you guys next time.
Listen.